Let's get started today. Okay, we are on page number 25 in your grammar, so get there quickly. We have a test coming up, and we're going to have a quiz tomorrow. 25 and 26 today is review, so it's all stuff that we've already learned. We're just going to review over it. You will need to know what a fragment is, what a sentence is, what a run-on, how to find subjects, and predicates and sentences. Tomorrow we'll review more in depth over the test after we take our quiz, okay? But this review will help you with your quiz tomorrow and your test, okay? Practicing with sentences and run-ons. Apparently I have too much on the stand. It's not stand. Okay, so let's look at page 25. Think A. Josiah, can you read the instructions for me? Very good. Okay, I'm going to read that again louder for our distance learners. Gianni, I see that you're on, but can you just maybe message? Or Tristan. Is Tristan here today? No? Okay, so it's either Gianni or Tristan. You can just message and tell me that you can hear me. I want to make sure my volume is working correctly. It says on my end it is, but I want to make sure you can hear. Okay? So let's read those instructions again. Some of the following items contain correctly written sentences. Others contain a sentence and a fragment. Others contain a run-on sentence. Put S before an item that contains a correctly written sentence. Put F before an item that contains a fragment. Put RO before an item that contains a run-on sentence. Correct each fragment and each run-on sentence. Okay, they gave some examples. Joe is a good player. He does his best. Okay, this was a run-on sentence because they tried connecting these with a comma. We cannot connect two sentences with a comma. Okay, Joe is a good player is one complete sentence. He does his best is one complete sentence. So they had to join that. They had to fix that. And they fixed it by changing the comma to a period and capitalizing the word he. Number 2, Ken made the team because he worked hard. Okay. Now, this is what we have to be careful with 6th grade. Eyes on Mrs. Rule for a moment. Okay. If we are just reading this, Ken made the team because he worked hard. That makes sense, right? So if we're careful and we're just reading it, we can go, oh, that's a sentence. It makes sense. But notice there's a period after team. That means they're saying because he worked hard is its own sentence. Because he worked hard, does that make complete sense? No. So we have to make sure that our mind, when we're reading these sentences, we're not auto-correcting in our mind. How many of you have done that before? I know I have. In the office, sometimes we've been proofreading a letter that's going to go out to the school family, and a lot of times when I proofread, I see a mistake, but my mind automatically corrects it, okay? So I have to train myself to spot those. And so we need to look carefully, okay? It may sound right when we're reading it, but look at the punctuation. Okay, that punctuation is going to tell us, Landon, whether it is correct or incorrect, okay? So this was a fragment. So they corrected that by deleting the period and changing the B to an LC. Now it says, Ken made the team because he worked hard. That's just one sentence. It should be joined. It should not be separated at all. Okay, so we know what we're doing. Let's look at sentence number 1. Gianni, we are on page 25. And awesome. The microphone is working. The sound is working today. The age of the automobile began in 1770 when a French army officer named Cugnot drove a steam-powered 3-wheeled vehicle. Sentence, fragment, or run-on? Liviana, what do you think? Let's break apart where they separated them, okay? So we see a period there. So let's look at the first group of words. The age of the automobile began in 1770. Does that make sense, class? Yes or no? Yeah, it makes sense. So we have a sentence there. But let's look at the second part. When a French army officer named Cunat drove a steam-powered three-wheeled vehicle. Does that make complete sense? Yes or no? No. Why? What is the one word that gives it away there? Ariel? When. When we add those words like since, because, when, if, Cameron, that turns what that could be a sentence into a fragment, okay? So we have a fragment here. We should have written the letter F in the blank. How would we correct this then, Olive? How would we correct this sentence? Well, you don't have to delete the when. You would delete the period, and we would just make that W a lowercase w, because it doesn't need to be separated. It's one sentence. When a French army officer named Cunat drove a steam-powered three-wheeled vehicle, this is a fragment. So the age of the automobile began in 1770 when a French army officer named Cunat drove a steam-powered three-wheeled vehicle. It just needs to be combined into one sentence. Delete the period, lowercase that W back down. Let's look at sentence 2. Adam, read it for us, please.
Most early automobiles were powered by steam. They were expensive and slow.
Okay. Most early automobiles were powered by steam. They were expensive and slow. Do we have a sentence, a fragment, or a run-on here, Tony? Good, Tony. And what gave it away for you? That'll tell me, yeah. Good. So what gave it away is that there was a comma there, right? And commas don't join two complete sentences. Here we have two complete sentences. Most early automobiles were powered by steam. They were expensive and slow. So we need to put a period in, and we need to capitalize the word T for this run-on sentence. Let's look at sentence 3. Cameron, read it for me, please. Okay, so we have two groups of words here. One of the first gas-powered automobiles was the Benz carriage. Second group of words, because they put a period in there, which was later known as the Mercedes-Benz. Do we have two sentences? Do we have a run-on? Or do we have fragment here? Josiah? Look at that second group of words. 6th grade, let's think through these, okay? Remember, you're going to be taking these on your test in 2 days, okay? You're going to have to look and analyze. Where is the punctuation? Okay, if there's a period, then they're telling you that the group of words on either side are complete sentences, right? Okay, so let's look at that second part there, which was later known as the Mercedes-Benz. Can that stand alone, Josiah? No. Okay, so that's what we have to look at. When you see a period, do not lump those group of words together. There's a period meaning they think it's two separate sentences. So both of those sentences should be able to stand alone. If you read it all by itself, if you read the first part all by itself, it should make sense and be able to stand alone all by itself. If you read the second part all by itself, it should be able to stand alone all by itself. But here, which was later known as the Mercedes-Benz. Okay, guys, once again, think this through in your head. If I just walked up here today and I said, all right, good afternoon, 6th grade, which was later known as the Mercedes-Benz. Would you think I was crazy?
Yes.
Yes, because it doesn't make complete sense. It can't stand alone, okay? So because we have one group of words here that doesn't make sense, then we have a fragment. And how would we fix this? Tony, do you want to fix it for us? Okay, you're going to delete the period and you are going to lowercase the W. In this sentence, we don't need to make a comma because the which is coming. If that which or like the word because or before, if that all came at the beginning of the sentence, then we would need a comma. but because it's coming in the middle, we don't need a comma here, okay? So you just need to delete the period and make that W a lowercase w. If the fragment comes first, maybe this will help you guys, knowing when to put the comma in and when not. If the fragment comes first, we put the comma in. If the fragment is second, we don't need a comma. Okay, in this sentence, we have a sentence first and we have a fragment, so we don't need a comma. Okay? All right, let's look at number 4. I'm going to have Landon go ahead and read this for us, please, and do it for us.
The first president to ride in an automobile was William
McKinley.
McKinley, who was transported to a hospital in an electric ambulance in 1901.
The first president to ride in an automobile was William McKinley, who was transported to a hospital in an electric ambulance in 1901. Landon, sentence, fragment, or run-on? It is a sentence. Very good. That word who. Who, you couldn't have that second part standing alone. Who was transported to a hospital in an electric ambulance in 1901? So it has to be joined to that first sentence, okay? Number 5. In 1896, a mechanic built his first automobile. His name was Henry Ford. Gavin, sentence, fragment, or run-on? Look carefully. Number 5. In 1896, a mechanic built his first automobile. His name was Henry Ford. Say that again? Let's do, before we fix it, let's see what it is first. Sentence, fragment, or run-on? In 1896, a mechanic built his first automobile. His name was Henry Ford. Run-on, why? Why is it a run-on, Gavin? We have 2 sentences. What are they? What's the first sentence? Okay, good. In 1896, a mechanic built his first automobile. What is the second sentence? And how did they join him? With nothing. Is that correct? No, we cannot join 2 sentences without what? How are we going to fix this? Huh? A semicolon? Okay, that would work. You can do a semicolon. You could put a period and then just capitalize the word his. Or you could do a comma and the word and. In 1896, a mechanic built his first automobile and his name was Henry Ford. Any of those 3 ways would be fine in correcting this sentence. Okay, number 6. Josiah, read it for us, please.
When it was first sold in 1908, the first Model T cost $850. By 1927, a new Model T cost $290.
Okay, do we have a sentence, a fragment, or a run-on here, Josiah? When it was first sold in 1908, Ford's Model T cost $850. By 1927, a new Model T cost $290. Can't hear you. Nope. Excuse me. Sorry, Gianna. Just sneeze with the microphone on. What's your only choice left, Josiah? A run-on. Okay, why is it a run-on? Well, because we have two sentences here. When it was first sold in 1908, Ford's Model T cost $850. First sentence. Second sentence, by 1927, a new Model T cost $290. Okay, we have to join these correctly. So how would we do that? If it were me, I would insert a period, capitalize the word B, or the word by, the letter B. Let's look at number 7. Cameron, read it for us, please. Equipped with an automatic transmission, the medium-priced Oldsmobile was the most exciting new car in 1937. Can you look at it and tell me if we have a fragment, sentence, or run-on, and look at those punctuation marks very carefully. If you have to, read the words separately before and after that period. Give it a try. Cameron, you got this. Equipped with an automatic transmission, period. The medium-priced Oldsmobile was the most exciting new car in 1937. Cameron, if it's a sentence, then both of those group of words have to make complete sense. So let's check that out, okay? So before the period, we have equipped with an automatic transmission. That's the first group of words. Does that make complete sense by itself? No. So what do we have then? We don't have a run-on. We have a fragment. We have a fragment. Okay, these ones aren't joined. They ended them. Okay, but we have a fragment. So we want to join them. How are we going to join these to make it correct? Ariel? Good. You're going to lowercase the t, take out the period, and insert a comma instead because we have our fragment at the beginning. Equipped with an automatic transmission, comma, the medium-priced Oldsmobile was the most exciting new car in 1937. Sixth grade, I think some of you are making this harder than it is, okay? It really is very simple, okay? So don't overcomplicate it. Don't look at these words and go, there's just so much here, okay? Remember that we have a fragment, and we talked about this in great lengths, okay? A fragment means a part of a sentence. Okay, if I have a fragment of pie left, that means I only have part of it left. It's not complete, Cameron. It's only a part. It doesn't make sense all by itself. Think about a puzzle, okay? If I have a 100-piece puzzle and I only have one piece of that puzzle, does that puzzle make sense? Is it complete? No. Okay, so that's what the word fragment means. It doesn't make sense. It can't stand alone all by itself. I can't take that puzzle piece and go up to Olive and say, Olive, look at my puzzle. She's going to go, oh, Mrs. Rule, that's amazing. And then she's going to turn around and like, did you see? Like, Mrs. Rule just showed me her puzzle. It's one piece. She only gave me one piece. It doesn't make sense to her. She can't see the whole picture. She can only see one piece. She's going to think Mrs. Rule needs a doctor to help me out upstairs, right? Okay, so that's a fragment. It's the same thing, a sentence. Okay, it's not a full sentence. It can't stand by itself. It doesn't make sense by itself. It's all by itself. Okay, just a little part. And then we have a run-on. Run-on is when you have two complete sentences, but they're joined together and they're joined incorrectly. It just keeps going and going and going, and there's no punctuation to divide it. Okay? So, two sentences joined incorrectly. By the way, it can be more than two sentences. I should say two or more. It can be 3 or 4 sentences. You could have a whole story with nothing but fragments. Okay? And then we know that a sentence A sentence. We talked about a sentence having those 5 things. A sentence is complete when 5 little things it meets. It has a subject, and a verb. It makes sense with every. It has a capital letter and an end mark too, okay? So once again, use that little tune to help you when you're trying to figure out, is it a sentence, okay? Well, does it have a subject? Does it have the who is doing it? That's what a subject is, right? Who's doing it? What is doing the action? Does it have a verb? The verb is what is being done in the sentence, okay? The cat meowed softly, okay? Meowed is what is being done. Who or what did that? The cat. That's my subject, okay? So you have to check. Does it have a subject and a verb? Then it might have a subject and verb, but not make complete sense. For example, those fragments that have those words like when in front of it, or I'm trying to think of another. In number 6, we just did when it was first sold in 1908. Okay, that sentence, when it was sold, that's my verb, right? I have my action verb, I have my helper, that's my what was being done, and then it's the who or what that was being sold. That's my subject. I have a subject and verb here, but does that make complete sense? When it was sold in 1908, does that make sense all by itself? Can it stand alone? Yes or no? No. If I came up here and said, Adam, when it was sold in 1908, it can't stand alone. So that's where you have to exercise your critical thinking. In 6th grade, you're going to have to think. All right, I'm looking at some of you, and I feel like a lot of you don't have any study habits. I can tell by the way you're listening. You haven't been taught how to sit up, how to get engaged in a lesson, how to apply yourself. And that's very important because you guys are going into junior high next year. And you're not going to have a teacher who babies you or gives you extra credit, or you're going to have to learn. This is my assignment. I've got to get it done. I'm going to work hard to do it. I'm going to apply myself. I'm going to learn. When the teacher is teaching, I've got to be engaged. I've got to be listening. When you go to college and you have an instructor, that college instructor is going to get up and she's going to go over your notes, and she's not going to come over and say, are you getting that down? Are you getting that down? They're going to say, you're an adult. It's your responsibility. You get it down or you don't. You pass or you fail. So 6th grade, right now, this year, learn. Learn to apply yourself. If you struggle a little bit in language or math or whatever subject, then every time we're in class and your teacher's up here instructing and showing you how to do it, you ought to be, I got to get this. Okay? I didn't always understand everything the first time. In fact, when I was in school, the subject that I really struggled with was geometry. I was a straight A student until I got to geometry. And I did not understand it. I loved Algebra 1. I loved Algebra 2. I loved grammar. Didn't have any problem with it. I got to geometry, and I just did not comprehend geometry. But I was an A student, and I wanted to keep that. I wanted to keep my A's. So you know what? I worked harder. I asked questions. When the teacher was teaching, I was listening intently. I was writing down notes. I was trying problems. At the end of class, I would go up to the teacher. Did I do this right? Can you help me with this? Because I wanted to get it. I wanted to learn. And there has to be something inside of you guys that say, hey, I'm going to work hard. You know why? If nothing else, God commands it. Do you know what? God does not want all of you to be 100. He does not require all of you to be A+ students. God knows that for some of you, your very best may be a C+ in language. But God does desire and require that everyone does their best at everything that they do. That is a command out of the Bible. So if you're getting a C+ in language, but you're not fully engaged in class, and you're not working extra hard, then you're not pleasing God because you're not doing the best that you can do. Now, if you're working hard and you're getting extra help and you're listening intently and you're getting a C, then that's okay because that's your best. But God commands our best. I tell my volleyball team this every year. You may not be the best player on the team, but if you give me your best, I will get you in the game. I will work hard at getting you to where you can play because you're going to be coachable, because you're listening, you're working hard. And that's what God commands us. He commands us to do our best, okay? So I feel like I'm going over this and we're still struggling with fragments and sentences and run-ons, and we've been working on this for a few years. Those of you that have been in our school, this has been something that you've had since, well, you work on fragments and run-ons and sentences in 2nd grade. If you're newer, okay, that's fine, but get in, get engaged, and listen. But when we're still struggling with this and Mrs. Rule's going over it and over it and over it, and I look up and we're doodling, or we're looking down, or playing with our mask, or we're looking out the window, then we're not doing our best. And we're not going to be the student that God wants us to be when we're not engaged and listening, okay? So decide right now in 6th grade. You guys have your whole future ahead of you, right? Some of you, you're going to do great things. I hope all of you do great things. I hope all of you choose to go to college or a university. I hope all of you get a good job. But how well you do in high school and college and in a university is going to depend on what you develop as study skills here in elementary school. Because if you don't develop good study skills here, that's going to carry on. It's going to be a habit. And you will have to have good study skills to go to college and university and to get a good career. And so your teachers are up here and we're teaching and we're encouraging you. It's because we want the best for you. We want you to be successful, but you have to make a decision in your own heart, okay? I'm going to listen. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to learn this because I need it for life, okay? You will need this language for life. This is something that you will use every day of your life. No matter what you do, you will need this, okay? And this is a basic core subject. When you go to college, you will have to take it. So work hard at it. Get it down. And the thing is if you listen and you learn the strategy of the Abeka curriculum, it's amazing. It gets, as soon as you get it, it's easy. And it'll be easy every year. But you've got to listen and focus, okay? So once again, remember a fragment. It is a part of a sentence. It has to be able to stand alone. So when you're analyzing your sentences, 6th grade, if there's a period in the middle of a sentence, okay. She was waiting for her dad to pick her up at the party. If you have 2 groups of words, you need to look at the punctuation mark. Okay, what punctuation mark do I have here in my sentence? A period. Okay? Periods tell me that my sentence is ending, right? Okay? So let's look at this group of words. If this is an ending of the sentence, then this should be able to stand all by itself. It should make sense. So if I walked up to you, Shane, and said she was waiting for her dad, does that make sense to you? Yeah, that makes sense. It has a subject and a verb. She was waiting. That's your action verb. This is your helper. Don't forget your helpers. Who or what was waiting? She. She was waiting. She was waiting for her dad. It makes sense. It has a capital letter and an end mark. I have a complete sentence because it checks off all of these 5 things. Now let's look at the second group of words, because where a period ends, that means a new sentence begins, right? So I have a capital letter here and a period here. I am saying by my punctuation marks that this is a complete sentence, which means, Cameron, it should stand alone. It should make sense all by itself. Cameron, to pick her up for the party. Is that a complete sentence? No. It does not make sense. It's a fragment. Okay? But what some of you guys are doing is you're not breaking it apart like that. You're just reading it. She was waiting for her dad to pick her up from the party. Sentence! Yes! No! We've got to look. We've got to analyze. We've got to look at that punctuation, okay? Because that punctuation tells us. It gives it away. It tells us we have to look at it now, okay? We know that this is not a complete sentence because it doesn't make sense by itself. I cannot look at just that sentence and that stand alone to pick her up for the party. Once again, if I walked up to Shane and I said, Shane, to pick her up from the party, does that make sense? No. So as you're analyzing your sentences, you need to look carefully, okay? We need to use critical thinking. It's not going to come easy. We have to work at it. All right, so what number were we on, guys? Number 8. Before World War II, most windshields were flat. After World War II, sorry, I'm looking at the screen to make sure Gianni's on there still. After World War II, windshields were wide and curved. Okay, sentence, fragment, or run-on. Tony, what do you think? Before World War II, most windshields were flat. After World War II, windshields were wide and curved. What is it? It's a run-on. Why? Do I have 2 complete sentences on either side? Before World War II, most windshields were flat. Is that a complete sentence? Yes. After World War II, windshields were wide and curved. Is that a complete sentence? Yes. So I have 2 complete sentences that can stand alone. They have a subject verb that makes sense. They have a capital letter and mark, okay? They make sense, but they're joined with a comma. Can we join 2 complete sentences with a comma, class? No. So Olive, how would you fix this? Delete the comma, and we would put in a period. Capitalize the word A for after. Okay, and number 9. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Make sure that you're listening and keeping up. 1973, the Volkswagen Beetle passed the Model T as the most produced car in history. There were over 19 million Beetles. Sentence, fragment, or run-on. Ariel? What part is the fragment? There were over 19 million Beetles. That one's actually a sentence. So we have 2 sentences here. So you should have written S in the blank. Number 10. Take your hood off, please. Having a large percentage of all the cars in the world, the United States is a nation on wheels. Landon, sentence, fragment, or run-on. Tell me why. Landon, you were correct when you said fragment, so be confident, but tell me why. Why did you choose fragment? You had to have a reason when you chose it, so what was your reason? The period what? Sentences have periods. What? Is what? But why? Why can't it be a period? The reason why I'm asking, Landon, because when we find answers, we have to know why we're choosing those answers, or otherwise we're just guessing, right? And you're not going to do well if you're guessing on a test. You have the right answer. Now use your critical thinking and tell me what made you come to that conclusion. How did you know that you had a fragment there? Why is it not a sentence or a run-on? Landon, read me the first group of words before the period.
Having a large percentage of all the cars in the world.
Okay? Is that a sentence or a fragment? Fragment, why? It doesn't make sense. That's what I was looking for. I knew you knew it, but that's what I wanted you to say. Mrs. Rule, I know it's a fragment because that first group of words, it's not a sentence. It doesn't make sense. It can't stand alone. I can't just walk up to you and say, having a large percentage of all the cars in the world. Nope, it doesn't make sense. So it's not a complete thought. It's a fragment. Okay, got it? So to correct that, we would need to take out that period. We would need to turn it into a what class? A comma. And what do we need to do to the T? Lowercase it. Let's look at number 11. Employing millions of people. One of America's largest industries is the automobile industry. Yes, Josiah. Fragment, run on our sentence. Fragment, great. Why? Because the first group of words does not make sense. Employing millions of people does not make sense. Can't stand alone. Not complete. So we would take that period. We would delete it. And what are we going to put in its place, guys? A comma, because that fragment came at the beginning. And then we would lowercase the big letter O. Okay, number 12, last one. Kunat, or Kuno, I don't know how you pronounce his name, never dreamed of the ultimate results of his crude steam carriage. The automobile, however, has made life easier for us all. Tony, what do you think? Sentence, very good. We have two complete sentences there. Kunat never dreamed of the ultimate results of his crude steam carriage, and the automobile, however, has made it easier for us all. Good job. All right, turn your pages over to page 26. Thing B says draw a vertical line between the complete subject and the complete predicate. Okay? Remember we have subjects and verbs in sentences, but the complete predicate is where the verb starts and it goes all the way to the end of the sentence. And then the subject is the who or what part of the sentence. Okay, so let's look at number 1. A very tall mountain stands at the north end of the city. A very tall mountain stands at the north end of the city. Let's find our verb in this sentence first, because we know that our predicate is going to start where the verb starts. I'm looking for the dry eraser. Anyone know where that is? Right here. Found it. I love this pink marker. It's beautiful. Okay, so we'll do this one on the board so you guys can see what we're doing with the rest of the Okay, who can tell me what is my verb in this sentence? Liviana. Stand. Very good. So we're going to underline stands how many times, guys? 2 times. Always underline. What kind of verb is this? Action, linking, helping, being? Action verb. Something that you can do. Okay, do we have any helpers? Helping verbs that go along with stands, yes or no? Always check that. Once you find an action verb, check to see if you have a helper. Some of you are forgetting that and you're missing points on your quizzes. Once we find the action verb or the linking verb, we ask, what 2 questions? Who or what stands? Make sure you say the verb after that. Who or what stands? Who or what stands, Cameron? The mountain stands. Okay, now, to separate my subject part of my sentence from my predicate part, I'm going to draw a line right in front of my verb. Okay? This is my subject, a very tall mountain. This is my predicate, stands at the north end of the city. Okay, so Understand the difference between subject and predicate, okay, and subject and verb. Number 2, the captain and his assistant surveyed the damage. What's your verb, guys? Shout it out if you know it. Surveyed. Good. Underline it 2 times. Shane, who or what surveyed? Captain? And his? Assistant. There you go. Captain, assistant. Those are your 2 subjects. Okay, and where are we going to divide? Emmeline? No, we're going to always divide right in front of the verb, okay, because we're separating our subject part from our predicate. And assistant is part of our subject. So where are we going to divide? Between what 2 words? Yes, Adam. Between assistant and surveyed, yes. So right after assistant, right before surveyed. Your whole subject part is the captain and his assistant. That is the who. And then the what is they surveyed the damage. Okay, that's what they did. So that's your subject, captain and his assistant. Predicate part of the sentence is surveyed the damage. Number 3, a good grade is the result of hard work. What is my verb here, Cameron? Is. Very good. Underline it 2 times. Who or what is? Tony? Grade is. Where are we going to divide, class, between what 2 words? Grade and is where the line goes. Your subject part of the sentence is a good grade, and your predicate part is the result of hard work. Number 4, Olive, the table and these chairs are valuable antiques. What's your verb? Are. Underline it 2 times. Who or what are? Ariel? Good. Table, chairs. We have 2 subjects here. Underline them both. And class, where are we going to divide? Between chairs and are. Number 5. Cameron, would you like to do this one? Our town hall was built in 1870. What's your verb? Good job. Was built. Who or what was built? Cameron? And where are we going to divide? Between hall and was. Good. Let's look at right C. It says rewrite the following poorly written sentences. Number 1, Sherlock Holmes discovered the true identity of the man in the plaid overcoat. And then the police tracked the suspect down, and so the case was then solved. What do we need to delete out of here, Liviana? Yes, and then, and there's one more that we need to delete. And so. I don't want you guys to rewrite these. Let's just correct them, okay? Use your proofreader's marks. So Sherlock Holmes discovered the true identity of the man in the plaid overcoat. Put a period in. Capitalize the word T. The police tracked the suspect down. And I would probably just put a comma and the case was solved. That's probably how I would fix it, just to make it not so choppy. Or you could just put another period and then say the case was then solved. Let's look at sentence 2. The student who eventually won the spelling bee. What do we have here, guys? Fragment. How could we correct this? Tony? We have a fragment. We need to make it a sentence. It doesn't make sense the way it is. The student who eventually won the spelling bee, what? Leaves us hanging. Yeah. There you go. Good job. The student who eventually won the spelling bee received an award. Okay, you could just write received an award after the word bee instead of rewriting the whole sentence. All right, number 3, Massachusetts is in New England. Vermont is in New England. What can we do to make these better? Cameron?
I actually don't know. I forgot.
Tony, what do you think?
It was the period. With the lowercase.
Well, V in Vermont is the name of a state.
No.
Ariel, what do you think we need to do this? Okay, so you could say Massachusetts is in New England and Vermont is in New England, but let me help you guys even a little bit more. This is kind of overly wordy, right? Are they both in New England?
Wait, what?
Are they both in New England? Yes. So couldn't we simplify by just saying Massachusetts and Vermont are in New England? See how we did that? So when you see things that are extra wordy and choppy, then we've got to figure out how can we make this flow a little bit better. And so there's no reason to say Massachusetts is in New England and Vermont is in New England. We could easily just say Massachusetts and Vermont are in New England. Number 4, Dad always plants our garden. Mother always tends it. What is the problem here? Adam?
Oh, you have to put a comma between, comma between garden and mother.
A comma?
A semicolon?
A semicolon would be best. Why? Because if we put a comma, you've just created a run-on sentence. Semicolon is like a comma with a dot on top, remember? Looks like that. Okay, last one. Balboa discovered the Pacific Ocean. Balboa named it. How could we make this less choppy? Liviana. Balboa discovered the Pacific Ocean and named it. All right, think D. You're going to have the diagram for homework, and you are going to turn it in to me tomorrow, okay? So there's 5 sentences you'll have diagram, but right now I'm going to help you out because we're going to go through all the subjects and verbs together so that when you get home, all you have to do is diagram it. It says draw 1 line under each subject and 2 lines under each verb. In the blank to the left of each sentence, write S for simple sentence, CD for compound. Diagram the subjects and verbs on notebook paper. Number 1. The Harpers and their friends visited us last night and left early this morning. Let's find our verbs first. What are our 2 verbs there, Cameron? And? There are 2 of them. They visited us and? Adam, help them out. Left. Visited, left. Those are your verbs. Then we ask, left, yes, left is a verb. Left means you left somewhere. You're leaving. It's the past of leaving. It's an action, okay? So visited, that's why you have to analyze the sentence because you have like left and right. That would not be a verb, right? But you're talking about someone who is leaving somewhere. That is an action. It's the past tense of an action. So that would definitely be a verb. Visited and left. Who or what visited and left? Tony? Friends and? Harpers. There's your subjects and your verbs. Harpers, friends, visited, and left. Now, we have 2 subjects, we have 2 verbs, but let's look at this sentence. Do we have a simple sentence here? Or do we have a compound sentence here? Liviana? Simple. Very good. We have a compound subject and we have a compound verb, but we have a simple sentence because we do not have 2 sentences that are joined by a semicolon or a comma and a conjunction. Number 2, I read my assignment, but I did not read it very carefully. What kind of a sentence do we have here, Tony? Compound. Go ahead and write CD in the blank. Let's look at the first sentence. I read my assignment. What's our verb in this one? Tony? Read. Who or what read? Good job, Tony. I read my assignment. Let's look at the second sentence. But I did not read it very carefully. Landon, what are your verbs? What's your verb? Not is never a verb. Not is always an adverb. Did what? Did read. Don't get confused by that word not. Not and no are never ever verbs. They're always adverbs, so never include them. A lot of times they come in between your helper and your verb. Do not include it in your verb. Did read, and then who or what did read, Landon? I. Very good. Number 3, the whistle of the steamship blew a shrill blast. Class, simple or compound? Simple. What is the verb? Shout it out. No, the verb blew. Who or what blew? Nope. Whistle. Don't be confused by that. Whistle is one of those words. It can be a verb or it can be a subject. It depends on how it's being used in the sentence. You need to look at it. Number 4, James raised his hand but did not know the answer. Simple or compound, guys? Simple. We have a conjunction, the word but is there a comma in front of it? No. And you'll notice there is no subject that goes along with the verb after that word but. So let's look at our verbs first. Who can tell me the verbs in this sentence? Shane? Did know, and there's one more. Nope. Towards the beginning. Before the word but. It's an action word. Something he did. Raised. So you have raised. He raised his hand. And then did know. Okay? Now who or what raised but did know? Who was it, class? James is your subject. Last one, number 5. The party was a great success. Everyone enjoyed himself. Simple or compound, Cameron? Compound. Let's look at the first sentence. The party was a great success. What's your verb here, class? Nope.
What's success?
Nope. Nope. Was. Just a linking verb here. Who or what was? Party. Party was. Let's look at the second sentence. Everyone enjoyed himself. What's your verb? Enjoyed. Who or what enjoyed? Everyone. All right. You will diagram those sentences tonight for homework. Now listen, I will grade it. You have the instructions on how to diagram those. You might have to flip back to remind yourself how to diagram compound subjects, compound verbs, and then compound sentences. That is homework and it will be graded. Quickly take out your spelling books, please. Let's look at the test your spelling mastery, okay? Make sure you're going over studying these words every day. Few every day will help you to get a good grade on your test. Yes, Cameron, do you have a question? No. Don't say that.
On our thingy, for our family,
Cameron, check with me at lunchtime on those, okay? That's homework. So check with me at lunch if you have a question over the diagramming, okay? Test your spelling mastery, list 3. It says unscramble the spelling words and write them on notebook paper. The first letter of each word is bold, okay? I do not need you to do all of these, so I'm going to give you some numbers to circle, okay? I want you to do number 2. I want you to do number 5. I want you to do number 12. I want you to do number 20 and number 22. Okay? So let's look at number 2 and let's see if we can figure it out, and then you can just write it correctly next to it. Number 2, who can figure out what spelling word that is? The dark letter is the bolded letter. That's the one that it starts with. So who can tell me what this word is? Olive? Physician. Very good. You can write it right next to the number, physician. Make sure you spell it correctly. Some of you have been doing your spelling homeworks pages and you've been copying them incorrectly over on the line, and that doesn't help you. The purpose of writing them is to practice spelling them correctly, so make sure you spell it correctly. P-H-Y-S-I-C-I-A-N. Let's look at number 5. Who can tell me what this word is? Tony? Yes, we're just writing it next to it. Lana, number 5. Amphibious. Very good. Let's spell that together, class. Ready, begin. A-M-P-H-I-B-I-O-U-S. Amphibious. Okay, let's look at number 12. Who can decode number 12 for me? Cameron? Yes. We just did 2, 5, 12, 20, and 22. We're on list 3. 2, 5, 12, 20, and 22. Those are the ones we're working on. Right now we're on number 12. Who can do number 12 for me? Ariel. Very good. Contradict. Contradict. C-O-N-T-R-A-C, Contradict. Number 20. Who can do this one for me? Landon, you got it? Submerge. Submerge. Very good. S-U-B-M-E-R-G-E-D. And number 22. Who's got it? Viviana? Substitute. Very good. S-U-B-S-T-I-T-U-T-E. Okay, quickly close up your spelling books. Let's see who has been studying over the vocabulary words. If you know the correct vocabulary word, shout it out. I will give you the definition. I want you to shout out the word. Okay? The story of a person's life. You gotta just shout it out. Biography. Did you say biography? No? I heard someone over here say it. All right. Make sure when you know it, say it out nice and loud so I can see who the first one is. Able to live on land and in water. Amphibious. Was it you, Gavin? Make sure your spelling books are closed. To say in advance. Predict. Ariel. A community on the outskirts of a city. Suburb. I heard it from Gavin. I believe it was you again. A conversation between 2 or more people. Dialogue. Gavin's earning the tickets today. A person skilled in the art of healing. A doctor. Physician. Ariel, good job. Come on up. To say the opposite. To say the opposite. Keep your books closed. Starts with the C. Contradict. I didn't hear you say it. Gotta be loud. You guys have your mask on, so you have to be extra loud so I can hear you. Okay. The decision of a jury. Verdict. Adam, good job. The study of living things. The study of living things. Biology. The story of a person's life. I'm going to call that a tie. The choice and use of words. Diction. You were so close with your diction, but you were off just a little bit. To conquer, to bring under control.
Subdue.
Subdue. Gavin, nice job, bud.
I have not been studying.
A person or thing that takes the place of another.
Substitute.
Substitute. Adam, good job.
Substitute.
To find the cause of a problem by close examination.
Doctor.
To find the cause of a problem by close examination. Diagnose. Good job. Yielding to authority of another.
Surrender.
Yielding to authority of another. God wants us to be this to our parents. Yielding to the authority of another.
It's in my head.
Starts with an S.
Subdue. Subway.
What are you saying, Liviana? They're not.
Subdue.
They're so close.
Submarine.
What'd you say? Submissive. Good job. Last one. Covered with water. Submerged. I'm going to give it to Josiah. He looked desperate. He needed a ticket. All right. Today for your cursive and your spelling homework is to do your worksheet. And your penmanship is to copy your vocabulary words from your spelling book into your... Hold on one second. Let me make sure I have... Where's my folders? Here they are. Your penmanship today. You are copying your vocabulary from your spelling book onto a sheet of notebook paper in cursive. Okay? You do not... Listen, there's 15 of them. You do not have to write the definition. You only have to write the words. So you're only writing 15 words, but you're copying it over into cursive. Okay? Does everyone understand what you're doing for your penmanship? You guys can go ahead and get out a sheet of paper and start working on that. Those of you that have the adjusted, you'll write your adjusted vocabulary words. This will help you learning your vocab words, how to spell them, and it will also help you with your cursive. Learning how to take something that's written in print and decode it, transfer it into cursive. While you're working on your penmanship, I will come around and give you your spelling homework. Please make sure you're not wasting time. Shane, thank you for obeying right away. Already has the paper out. He's already starting his writing. Don't answer you if you call my name. You gotta raise your hand quietly. Gavin, I saw you were already working too. Make sure that you're writing those spelling words neatly. Okay, it is a cursive assignment. So I am going to be looking at the neatness of your cursive. So don't just scribble through it. Write neatly. Tony, how come we don't have a sheet of paper out yet? Yes, you write those, just the vocabulary words, not the... So you're only writing these 5 down here. And just the word, okay? Okay. This is Tristan's. Gianni, make sure you do one of your spelling worksheets and then copy your vocabulary words onto a sheet of paper in cursive for your cursive assignment today. You do not have to write the definitions, just the vocabulary word, the bolded vocabulary words. So you're writing 15 words in cursive for your cursive assignment. Make sure all of this is turned in on Friday so I can give you credit. Yes, sir. Pen's fine. Yes, ma'am? Emergency. Okay. Just go on your own. I'll keep an eye on you, okay? That way other girls can work. Your spelling pre-test is tomorrow. So make sure you study for that as well tonight. Tony? Let me see if this one's or not. Should be, but yeah, it is, bud. It has the vocabulary words in there. That's why it looks like there's more of them. Because you're finding your whole list. It's 15 words total.